Welcome to the AEO podcast. I'm your host, and today we're joined by structured data expert, Matt. Matt, I keep hearing about structured data and how important it is for e-commerce sites. But honestly, it sounds really technical. Can you just explain what it is in plain English?
Absolutely. Think of it like this. If you walked into a grocery store and every product was just a plain white can with no label, you'd have no idea what was inside. Structured data is essentially the label on that can. It's a standardized way of telling search engines exactly what your web page is about. Is it a product, a local business, a recipe? It gives them the specific details in a language they understand perfectly.
Okay, so it's like giving search engines the Cliff's Notes version of my page. But why should I, as an online store owner, care? What's the actual benefit?
That's the right question. The biggest benefit is visibility. When you use structured data correctly, you're giving Google the ingredients it needs to create what we call rich results. Those are the enhanced listings in search that really catch the eye. Instead of just a plain blue link, your listing might show star ratings, pricing, availability, even a thumbnail image right there on the search results page.
So it makes my listing stand out. Does that actually translate to more clicks?
Exactly. It's about earning more real estate on that incredibly valuable search engine results page. A study by a company called Advanced Web Ranking found that rich results can achieve a click-through rate that is, on average, almost 1/3 higher than standard listings. When someone sees a product with a 5-star rating and a price next to it, they are simply more likely to click on it than a plain text link. It builds immediate trust and provides key information before the user even visits your site.
That makes a lot of sense. Is this something that's difficult to implement? It sounds like it might require a developer.
It can range from quite simple to more complex, depending on the type of data and how your site is built. Many modern e-commerce platforms like Shopify and BigCommerce have apps or built-in features that handle a lot of the basic structured data for you, especially for products. But to really do it right and cover all the different types, some technical work is often needed. The good news is the code itself isn't mysterious. It follows a specific recipe.
And that's what we're going to get into in this guide. So what are the main types of this recipe that e-commerce sites should be using?
That's right. We're going to focus on the 5 most critical types. Product schema, which is the foundation for any product page. Review schema, to show off those star ratings. FAQ schema, which can really help you answer common questions right in the search results. BreadcrumbList, which helps with site navigation for both users and Google. And finally, local business schema, which is crucial if you have a physical storefront.
Perfect. I think I get the why now. I'm ready to see what this actually looks like in practice. Let's start with the most obvious one, the product schema.
Exactly. Let's break down the product schema first. It's the most direct way to tell Google, this page is selling a specific item, and here are all the details about it.
So, product schema sounds like it's essentially a digital price tag for Google. But what specific details do I actually need to include on it? Is it just the name and price?
That's a great question. It starts there, but the more detail you provide, the better. The absolute essentials are the product name, a clear image URL, a detailed description, and the offers property, which nests the price, currency, and availability status.
Okay, so the offers property is its own little bundle of information inside the main product data. What does availability status look like? Is that just in stock or out of stock?
Exactly. Google wants to know that. The 3 main statuses are in stock, out of stock, and pre-order. Using these correctly can prevent a bad user experience if a rich result shows for a product you no longer carry. It's a small detail with a big impact on customer satisfaction.
I've also seen those star ratings appear right in the search results under a product. Is that part of the product schema too?
It is, and that's a powerful feature. That's the review aggregate rating. You include the average rating value, say 4.8, and the total number of reviews that average is based on. This is proven to significantly increase click-through rates.
This is starting to sound less like a price tag and more like a full sales assistant right on the search page. Can you walk me through what this code actually looks like for, say, a pair of headphones?
Sure, let's use that example. Imagine we're selling the AEO Pro wireless headphones. The structured data, formatted in JSON-LD, which is Google's preferred method, would be placed in the head section of the HTML. It would look something like this.
Please do. Because that just sounds like a bunch of code to me.
Of course, so you open a script tag with the type application LD.JSON. Then inside you declare the context and the type, which is product. Then you list its properties, its name, an image, a description. The offers property is another typed object, in this case an offer, which contains the price, the currency, and the availability. Finally, if you have reviews, you'd include the aggregate rating property with the rating value and review count.
So, you're essentially building a very specific, standardized checklist of information about that product in a language Google understands perfectly.
That's the perfect way to put it. You're removing all guesswork for the crawler. You're not just hoping it figures out which number on the page is the price. You're explicitly telling it this is the price and it's in US dollars. Right, you är 20 spores.
This makes a lot of sense. So, after setting up product schema, what's the next most common type an e-commerce store should look at? I think you mentioned FAQ schema earlier.
Exactly. FAQ schema is next, and it's incredibly effective for capturing voice search traffic and addressing purchase objections before a user even clicks.
So, FAQ schema is for voice search. Is that its only real benefit, or does it do more?
Voice search is a huge part of it, but it's more about capturing those answer boxes or featured snippets at the top of the search results. Think of it as prime real estate. You're not just ranking for a keyword, you're putting your answer directly in front of the user, often with a link to your site. For e-commerce, this is perfect for questions like, how long does shipping take? Or, is this product machine washable? You're addressing concerns that might otherwise stop a purchase.
Okay, so you're pre-answering questions to build trust. But how does that actually look in the code? Is it complicated to set up?
It's surprisingly straightforward. You're essentially creating a list of questions and answers in a specific format. Let me give you a real example. Say you sell coffee makers, and a common question is, how do I clean the descaling sensor? Your JSON-LD code would look something like this.
That seems almost too simple. You're just wrapping the existing question and answer on your page with this code.
Exactly. And the impact can be massive. Research by Systrix found that pages that earned a featured snippet had a click-through rate that was over 100% higher on average. You're essentially getting a double listing on the results page. And for voice assistants like Siri or Alexa, this structured data is their primary source for pulling answers. Something like 40% of all Google Home answers are pulled directly from featured snippets.
40%? That's a significant number. So if you're not using FAQ schema, you're almost certainly missing out on that entire channel.
You're absolutely missing a major opportunity. It's about being the source of the answer. And for e-commerce, the questions are endless. By marking these up, you're not just helping your product pages, you're helping category pages and even your standard shipping info page rank for more terms.
That makes perfect sense. It seems like a no-brainer for any site with a help section or product FAQs. So after you've got your products and your FAQs covered, what's the next layer of trust you can add with structured data? I'm guessing customer reviews play a big part.
You've hit on the next big one. Review schema is incredibly powerful because it puts those star ratings directly on your listing in the search results. That visual cue is a huge trust signal and can dramatically improve your click-through rate.
So review schema gets those star ratings right there in the search results. That seems huge for getting clicks. But is it as simple as just slapping some code on the page that says, we have 5 stars?
That's an excellent question, and the answer is a definite no. Google is very particular about how it wants to see reviews marked up. The biggest mistake is just showing an aggregate rating without the individual reviews to back it up. Google wants to see the evidence.
So you need to show the actual reviews themselves within the code.
Exactly. The most robust way to implement this is by using both the aggregate rating and review schema types together. The aggregate rating gives you the overall score and total review count, which is what Google displays. Then you include several individual review entries to substantiate that aggregate score.
Can you walk us through what that code actually looks like for, say, a single product page?
Sure. Let's imagine we're marking up a coffee grinder that has an average rating of 4.5 stars from 200 reviews. You'd start with the aggregate rating object nested within your main product schema. Then you'd add a review property that contains an array of specific, recent reviews. Each review needs an author, the date it was published, the actual review body, and its own individual rating.
That sounds like a lot of manual work if you have thousands of products.
It would be impossible to do manually, which is why this is almost always handled dynamically through your e-commerce platform. Your system pulls the review data from your database or a reviews app like Yotpo or Judge.me and automatically generates the correct JSON-LD for each product page. The key is ensuring your platform or app is configured to output this specific validated structure.
What happens if you get it wrong? I've heard rumors about manual penalties.
The main risk is that Google will simply ignore your markup if it's invalid, so you miss out on the rich result. In more severe cases of intentional manipulation, like fabricating fake reviews or marking up content that isn't visible to the user, Google can take manual action against your site. Which is a much bigger problem. The best practice is to only mark up genuine user-generated reviews that are publicly visible on the exact same page.
So it's a powerful feature, but you have to be honest and precise with the implementation.
Precisely. It's about trust. You're giving Google verified data to show users, and that transparency is rewarded with better visibility. Once you have your products, FAQs, and reviews properly marked up, you've covered the core elements. But there are two more schemas that help Google really understand the structure of your site and your business.
So after products, FAQs, and reviews, what are these other two schemas you mentioned that help with site structure?
The first one is called BreadcrumbList. Think of it exactly like the fairy tale. It's a trail of breadcrumbs that shows both users and Google the path they took to get to a specific page. For an e-commerce site, that's usually something like home, women's shoes, running shoes.
And that seems helpful for a user, but why is it important for search engines?
It's crucial context. It helps Google understand your site's hierarchy and how your categories relate to each other. This can lead to your URLs being displayed in search results with that nice, clean breadcrumb path instead of a messy URL string, which can improve click-through rates.
How do you actually code that? It sounds complicated.
It's surprisingly straightforward. You use a breadcrumb list item and define each step in the item list element. For a running shoes page, you'd list the position, name, and URL for home, women's, shoes, and finally the page itself. It tells Google, this is where this page lives in my store's architecture.
Okay, that makes sense for navigation. And the final schema?
That's local business. This is arguably one of the most important for any retailer that has a physical presence, even just a warehouse or a single storefront. This schema doesn't just describe a page, it describes your entire company to search engines.
What kind of information are we talking about?
Everything that makes your business real. Your official company name, your logo, your physical address, your phone number, your opening hours, and even the accepted payment methods. It's the digital equivalent of putting a well-designed sign on your storefront.
So this is what powers those knowledge panels you see on the right-hand side of search results for a business?
Exactly. By providing this data in a structured format, you're giving Google the confirmed facts it needs to populate that panel accurately. I worked with a client who implemented this and saw a 25% increase in get directions clicks from their Google My Business listing because the data was consistent everywhere. It builds immense trust.
That's a significant result. Is the code for local business as involved as it sounds?
It can be more detailed, but the core elements are simple. You specify the e-type as either the general local business or something more specific like jewelry store or clothing store, and then you populate properties like address, telephone, and opening hours. It's about completeness.
So with these 5 schemas, product, FAQ, review, breadcrumb, and local business, you've given Google a pretty complete picture of your store, your products, and how everything connects.
You really have. It's the foundation for so much rich result potential. And the good news is you don't always have to code it all by hand. There are tools and plugins that can handle a lot of the heavy lifting for you.
That sounds like a perfect lead-in to our next point. So Matt, you've convinced me this structured data is worth the effort, but how do I actually know if I've implemented it correctly? What if I make a mistake and Google just ignores it?
That's an excellent question, and it's probably the biggest concern people have. The good news is you don't have to just hope it works. Google provides a set of completely free tools to test and validate your markup before you even push it live.
Okay, So, what's the first tool I should be using?
The absolute essential one is the rich results test. You can find it with a quick search. It's incredibly straightforward. You can either paste the URL of a live page, or even better, you can paste a chunk of your code directly into it. It will instantly analyze it and tell you exactly which rich results you're eligible for and flag any errors or warnings it finds.
So, it's like a spell checker for my structured data.
Exactly. It highlights missing required properties, formatting errors in your dates, anything that might prevent Google from properly understanding your data. It's the final quality check before you go live.
And what about after it's live on the site? How do I monitor it?
That's where Search Console comes in. Once your page is indexed, you can go to the enhancement reports within Search Console. It will show you a summary for your entire site, detailing how many pages have valid structured data for each type, and it will list any pages that have errors. It's your long-term monitoring dashboard.
That sounds manageable. But for someone using, say, WordPress and WooCommerce, is this something they have to code manually?
For the most part, no. Many modern themes, and especially dedicated SEO plugins, handle the bulk of it for you. Plugins like Yoast SEO or Rank Math will automatically generate basic schemas like BreadcrumbList and often even product schema, pulling the information directly from your product fields. Your job then is to use the rich results test to verify what they're outputting is correct and complete. You can find a great checklist for this at seomelon.com LLM check.
So the process is implement, test with the rich results test, monitor with Search Console, and leverage your existing plugins to do the heavy lifting.
You've got it. It demystifies the whole process. You're not just throwing code into the void, you're getting immediate feedback.
That's really reassuring. So once someone has validated their code and it's live, what's next? How do they actually track if this is benefiting them in the search results?
Right. And that leads us perfectly into the final piece of the puzzle, measuring the impact.
So, Matt, we've covered how to implement and validate structured data, but how do we actually know it's working? What should someone be looking for in their analytics?